Yeah! Focus! Shut it. Who are you meant to be? I am your inner hunter-gatherer, here to help you out. Tell me, you look concerned about something. Maybe I can help. You wouldn't understand, okay? Nonsense, I can help with anything. Come on, tell me. Well, where to start? Money, bills, politics, pandemic, fuel costs. No one liked my picture. My cryptocurrency hasn't grown. I should be successful. Existential. I should be working. I should have a better body. Well, I should be on holiday on a sunny place. What? Well, you're not much use, are you? Aye, sorry. Can't help you with that. But I can help you with something. I can show you the problems that your mind and body are hardwired to solve, so that maybe you can find some habits and routines that will help you in your daily life, while also training you for some basic survival and help keep me happy. Who are you again? Your inner hunter-gatherer. Right, right. Well, go on, let's get you moving. Here's the stick, here's the bow. Careful, those are pointy. Let's go. You folks come too if you want. Hi folks, Tom from Fandabi Dozi. Thanks for tuning in. So if you're new to the channel, basically for the past 4 years I've been trying to make my living around my passion for wilderness survival skills. I make YouTube videos about it and I teach courses on it. And through this I've kind of found myself living these two paradoxical lives. On the one hand, I spend a lot of time living in the forest, out of phone signal, being really active, living simply and close to nature. But on the other hand, in order to edit and share videos and run a business, I spend a lot of time sitting at a desk, staring at a screen, using technology for editing, social media, answering emails, and driving around the country in my van. So you can say I'm living both a historical and modern life at the same time. And this has made me wonder about the different sort of everyday challenges people have faced throughout the ages. Now, throughout the ages, humans have always had problems. I'm not here to judge whose problems are worse, just to recognise how they've changed. For most of our past, you'd be much more likely to suffer accidents and injuries from living a very active lifestyle. Something as small as an infected splinter could be a death sentence. And starvation was ever present because it's really not easy to get enough food off the land with basic tools and weapons. Paradoxically, nowadays, at least in the modern Western world, you're statistically more likely to get health problems from living an inactive lifestyle, from overeating and from mental illness. So what can we learn here? It's easy to see how modern technology has solved the problems of history, but can we use our understanding of history to better solve the problems of today? What are the problems we've evolved to face, that our mind and bodies are designed to confront? And can we use this to better understand our brain chemistry, so that we can find habits, lifestyles, ways of moving, ways of thinking that can help us find balance in whatever present situation we find ourselves in? Now generally, when people talk about survival, we're talking about skills that help you in a crisis. Whether it's a plane crash, a natural disaster, being lost in the wilderness, we're not talking about the everyday. But there's a great quote from the Russian playwright Anton Chekhov that inspired this video, and it goes, "Any fool can cope with a crisis. The difficult thing is to cope with everyday life." But this got me thinking, why can't I do both? Can I find routines that help train me for the complete back to basics hunter-gatherer survival scenario that also help me stay sane and healthy in the modern everyday. So for this video, I've come up with what I think are 4 useful, very basic hunter-gatherer survival skills that we can train, as well as 3 modern day challenges that I feel are very unique to human history. I've then come up with 4 habits and routines that I've been trying to implement into my day or my week to both help keep my inner hunter-gatherer happy, while also help me deal with the new modern day challenges. And hopefully you'll find some of it useful. Now, if you want to learn more, you can go check out my playlists. I've got some on survival trips, Highlander survival, archery, martial arts, and much more. If that still doesn't satisfy you, go to my Patreon page, donate what you want, and there you'll find a reference list of all the books and learning resources I used for this video. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's first look at some history. Now, human history is a complex and controversial subject, but for the purposes of this video, I'm really going to oversimplify it. Now, it's generally agreed that over 90% of human existence, we have been hunter-gatherers. So if we put this in context and imagine the whole of human history like an 8-hour workday, they've spent all the morning and the majority of the afternoon moving about, hunting and gathering in the wild, living in semi-nomadic tribes between 50 and 150 people who based their lives around the rhythms and movements of wild food and resources. You'd then have settled down and planted some things in the last hour, discovered fossil fuels in the last minute, and only had a smartphone to deal with in the last few seconds. So when someone asked you, "What have you been up to today?" you'd probably say, "Well, mainly running around the woods with a bow and arrow. Tried out a bit of farming, which is fun, but the last minute has been intense." So with this in mind, let's learn some basic brain chemistry and the 2 pathways of our nervous system. Imagine you're a hunter-gatherer out for a stroll when suddenly a predator jumps out the bushes. Your brain triggers your sympathetic nervous system and your body is flooded with stress hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, causing your heart rate to increase and your eyes and blood vessels to dilate. You are triggered for fight, yeah! 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 Or for flight. By moving your body like this, the built-up energy is released and the fight or flight hormones dissipate. You can then return to your hunter-gatherer camp, satisfied after killing or escaping the predator, and all you need to worry about is keeping the fire lit, maintaining your tools, and resting for another day of predator fighting or flighting. Although there is times where you're working flat out just to achieve the basic needs, there's also lots of time just waiting. Waiting for the weather to change. Waiting for the tide to turn for better fishing. Waiting for dawn or dusk for better hunting. There's plenty of time away from distractions to be still. Reflect on the day. The thinking mind is occupied with menial tasks that are directly related to meeting our basic needs. Our brain now triggers our parasympathetic nervous system, and we are said to be in rest and digest mode. The mind has time to settle, and the body has time to repair itself. Go forward in time, you are now a 21st century human. Just another day in the office. When suddenly, you get a mean comment on social media. A terrible thing happened on the other side of the world. Something has affected your credit rating. The exact same fight or flight hormones flood your system, but the problems aren't tangible. You can't just hit it with a stick. And now it's increasingly hard to run away from. Even when we think we are resting and digesting, constant stimulation from technology often doesn't really allow us to relax completely, merely masks the symptoms and numbs the pain with short-term gratification. If these fight or flight hormones aren't released from the body and we stay immobile, studies are now showing that over time this can weaken the immune system and accumulate into some serious physical and mental health problems. What I love so much about practicing wilderness survival skills is the solving of the really basic, tangible problems. For example, I'm cold. I put on a layer, I make a shelter, I light a fire. I'm thirsty. I purify water, I drink it. I'm hungry. I dig up a root, I eat it. I kill or catch an animal, I eat it. And sometimes your entire day is spent trying to achieve these really basic needs. This is what I think is the baseline human reality, what we are designed for. And although I don't want to live like this all the time, I have noticed a inner peace and satisfaction that I don't really get in the civilized world. So if this is the baseline human life, tell me, what would be some 4 really basic attributes that would be useful in order to live like this? Let me know in the comments. Now to me, it would be 1, the ability to focus and have patience. 2, have some functional strength and stamina. 3, swing a stick. And what I mean by that is have some basic skill in using hand tools and hand weapons. And finally 4, the ability to hit a target with a projectile, whether a stone, sling, bow, spear, they're all quite handy. So these would be my basic skills to keep my inner hunter-gatherer happy. But the question is, can they also help me in the modern everyday? Do you want to see something absolutely amazing? I tell you, this is going to blow your mind. Follow me. Look at this! Drinking water! Just like that. Look at this! Wow! Wow! Now, many things about modern life and technology are amazing, but everything always has a flip side. Now, for the sake of this video, I've narrowed down 3 problems of the modern day that I personally think are quite unique to human history. And these are: 1. Increased distractions from modern technology. There's just so many things competing for our attention. 2. Inactivity. I don't think there's ever been a time where the average job has involved so much sitting down. And 3. Non-tangible problems. I might be a simpleton, I am quite simple, but my hunter-gatherer fight or flight hormones just don't seem to fit with these increasingly complex technological and societal problems. Obviously I still need to face these problems, but can I find some healthy outlets to keep my inner hunter-gatherer happy so I can face the unique problems with a clear head? Can I train my 4 hunter-gatherer survival skills to cope with the 3 unique problems of the modern day? Well, here are 4 habits and routines that I've been trying out in order to achieve this. I'm not perfect at it, but at least it's a start, and hopefully you find some of it useful. Habit 1. Focus! Discipline technology and find the stillness. If something is a tool, it is generally just sitting there waiting patiently to be used. If something is not a tool, it's demanding things from you. It's seducing you. It's manipulating you. It wants things from you. We've moved away from a tools-based technology environment to an addiction and manipulation-used technology environment. I understand the irony of a YouTuber telling you to limit technology, but bear with me. And that quote was from Tristan Harris from the documentary The Social Dilemma, which discusses the dangers of social media for our mental health and society stability. Now, like everything in life, technology is not all good, and it's not all bad either. I'm really grateful for it because it's allowed me to make a living around what I want to do, and I use platforms like YouTube and Wandrium all the time to learn stuff. But then on the other hand, I have noticed that my mental health declines the more I'm on social media, and just how peaceful I feel when I'm at a phone signal. Now, technology isn't going anywhere, so we just need to be wise about its use. We just need to make sure that we are in control of it, and not the other way around. That we have at least one foot still in this physical reality, so that we don't get completely lost in the virtual one. as it gets dangerous when technology starts to know you better than you know yourself. So here's some habits I've been trying out to make sure that I am in control.
1. Don't look at your phone for the first and last hour of the day. This is when your attention is most vulnerable. Instead, just stop and smell the roses. 2. Switch off notifications for the most distracting apps and put your social media into a folder titled Addict, just to remind you. 3. Intentioned and compartmentalized use. Know exactly why you're going on technology beforehand. Once you've completed the task, put it down again. 4. Spend time away from it. Get yourself an old brick phone if you need an emergency contact, and just go outside. Be a human. Talk to a real person. We are made to be an active part of a tribe of hundreds. We are now alone in a tribe of billions. The instant gratification life isn't making us happy, so don't be afraid of being bored. It's good for you. Try things like meditation or some hobbies that require a lot of patience, as everything takes a long time when you're in the wild using basic tools. So it's good to get used to it.
So those are some habits that I've found helpful to help me cope with the first modern problem. And it's at least a starting point to help us train our hunter-gatherer skills for focus and patience. Now remember, this is just a tool. And when it runs out of battery or the grid goes down, it's about as useful as a coaster. And we're back to relying on our mind and our hands. So it's important that we prioritize training these before we reach for that phone.
Habit 2. Move, big and small, every day. Functional strength and stamina. Survival is basically just a game of calories. Try, catch and forage as much calories as you can with as little effort as possible. Therefore, you could make the argument that laying in bed eating a packet of crisps makes you an absolute survival master. The paradox, of course, is it's this inactive high-calorie food lifestyle that is nowadays killing us faster on average than starvation is. Our inner hunter-gatherer is both desperately trying to achieve inactivity, but also doesn't know what to do with it when it gets it.
When you get stressed or anxious, your inner hunter-gatherer is screaming at you for fight or flight. So, listen to it. I don't mean go fight someone. I mean move. Go for a walk, go for a run, do push-ups until you're exhausted. Just do anything to get those fight or flight hormones out of you. The evidence is clear that exercise makes you feel better both physically and mentally. It's not about trying to be an athlete or have a perfect body. It's just about tiring yourself out.
My forest life is active by necessity, but back in the modern world I can find myself falling into inactivity with a bad habit of sitting for hours on end with bad posture, which ultimately led to a back injury. So I've been trying to keep moving in big and small ways every day. Instead of sitting, I now use a standing desk or try natural postures like squatting, and have regular little breaks to stretch and move. At least 3 times a week I train stamina and or functional strength. My favourite things to use are gymnastic rings. These are great. You can just chuck them in a rucksack, fling them over a tree or post, and train all aspects of upper body strength in a dynamic way. With plenty of options for progression, integrating core training in every movement. Also, just getting used to carrying a rucksack is a very useful skill to keep your mind and body in that basic survival zone. Movement is the obvious cure for inactivity. It satisfies our inner hunter-gatherer fight or flight instincts and clears our mind and helps us focus so we can better tackle the unique modern problems.
I try to remind myself that we've evolved to run down and hunt big animals with pointy sticks. I've only got one body, so I need to look after it as if I had to rely on it for my survival.
Habit 3. Swing a stick and hit a target. Practice martial arts. Once upon a time, a man finds a nice straight stick.
Ooh, a stick.
Guess what happens next? I bet you'll first pick it up.
Yeah.
Then he'll swing it about. He'll then find something to throw it at or hit with it.
Wow.
Then, when he gets bored with that, he'll find someone to hit with it. This is your inner hunter-gatherer at work, so it's good to give it a healthy outlet so it doesn't cause any mischief. This is why I think we like sports so much, because when you think about it, most sports are basically variations of swinging sticks and trying to hit targets with projectiles. So this particular habit could be anything you want it to be, but my favourite thing is to practice weapons-based martial arts and archery, and I have many past videos on the subject. Practicing martial arts achieves all 4 of our hunter-gatherer basic skills: training focus, fitness, use of tools, and hitting targets. It's also great for releasing that fight or flight aggression in a disciplined and controlled way, and a chance to be regularly humbled.
Nice.
It gets you out of your mind and into your body. I like martial arts for the same reason I like survival skills. You are totally engaged in a very basic, tangible problem. Hit your opponent and don't get hit back, and try to do this as efficiently as possible. Practice any style you like, they all have benefits, and if you want to progress, then join a club or find a sparring buddy. But also find things you can train by yourself every day. Work on having good basic form, but also just have fun with it and play around with flowing movements. The ability to throw and shoot a projectile is what separates us from other animals and is what allowed our ancestors to survive. So, practice any shooting or throwing you like. They all share similar principles that can be used as a metaphor to help us in any other problem in life. Habit 4. Rewild yourself. Integrate the animal and remember home. This final habit encompasses the mind, the body, and the spirit of your inner hunter-gatherer. So it's hard to label it with just one thing. But here's some ideas so you can pick and choose and make it your own. The 21st century life has separated us from where our food and energy comes from. The city lights have blotted out the stars. The 9-to-5 grind has knocked us out of rhythm with the seasons, leaving us in a lonely, stagnant box. So every day, find something to break that box. Have a cold shower, practice survival skills, or my personal favourite, go outside and act like a weirdo. Run on all fours. Jump, roll, crawl. Climb, swing, or just hang out. Walk barefoot in the forest. Swim in a cold stream. Or just stare at a tree. Basically just being free to be free. It might sound and look strange, but that's just your domestication talking. Ask yourself the questions. What wild edible plants grow in my neighbourhood? What wildlife live in my area? And what are their survival strategies? What native people once lived here? How did they live? What did they believe in? To me, this habit involves training all our hunter-gatherer skills and deals with the 3 modern problems all at the same time. It's not about rejecting civilization or society. It's just about remembering where we've come from and what we've been doing for the majority of the time we've been here. As far as we are aware, animals don't philosophize about things. They don't worry about tomorrow. They enjoy life when eating it. and hate it when being eaten. All our fancy technology and cities are still just made from minerals of the earth, and all of it, and all of us, end up back there in the end. So I like to remind myself, just like the animals, the trees, and the stars, we are home already, and we all have a right to be here.